I suppose it's still part of that journey. Once they've gone, you know, they're still in your heart, and you just got to carry on, carry forward, carry them with you, and you just love your family, I guess. Never know when it's your day, really.
Kia ora koutou, and welcome to this podcast series on dementia. And this particular session I've called Up Close and Personal. And again, another whānau from here in the Rotorua area, Mike and his daughter Carmel are here with us. They also bring a photo and a picture of their beautiful wife and mama, Marcella, who had dementia and passed quite early in her age. A wonderful story, this one, because it's very real and very sometimes close to us all, and understanding dementia, understanding how it impacts our whānau, and also some wonderful pearls of kōrero that come from Mike around alternative treatments and just some of the care that they took to looking after his beautiful wahine wife, Marcella. So please enjoy this particular podcast session. Kia ora. Kia ora korua. Welcome
Kia ora.
to, this is our last podcast for this day on this dementia series. And welcome to our space, Mike, aka John Smith, and your beautiful daughter Carmel. And I just want to also acknowledge your beautiful wahine and mum, Marcella, in our podcast today as well. So welcome korua to our time together. Look, I have called this, for want of a few words, Up Close and Personal, and while it is that, it is also a journey and a process about dementia, about mate wareware as we know it, and what has that meant for you both. How has that impacted your family in having to deal with this? And then also, if, for want of a word, moving forward or progressing from where you are now, and to be able to give us insight on where you see, or where you might see yourselves moving in the next year or the year after, by way of your family moving together, any plans that you might have for yourselves, and being able to manage this dementia as we know and understand it. So firstly to you, Mike, I know Marcella had dementia quite early in her life.
Yes, yeah.
Can you tell us something about that time when she first, or to you, when it was first obvious that she had dementia in her life?
Yeah. Kind of rings a few bells. But I think even before that, like in 2011, we brought my auntie in that had dementia and looked after her. And Marcella was instrumental in that care for her, and we looked after her for 7-8 years before she left. So that was kind of our first encounter with dementia, the dementia nurses and lakes and stuff like that, which were amazing. Then with Marcella was when you look, I got a map from Dementia. I don't know if you can show it on the podcast, but there it is there.
Yeah.
So I kind of received that after our diagnosis, etc. and so on. So in the early stages of it, it tells you all these little flags and telltale signs that after your diagnosis you can kind of identify those things that were happening with her.
Yes.
And
And so you recognise those things because you'd already had both dealt with
dementia before.
Dementia with your RTA, right?
Yeah, and there's a few signs, and you know, I guess I seen those signs in her, and even, I think she did herself, but we never really talked about it, and we were in denial, I guess, you know, hoping for the best, you know, and just hoping that those small things, you know, there was, you know, travelling, and then we'd turn up somewhere where we shouldn't be, you know. And you know what's happening, you know, and then again at work with some earlier signs too for her, with her work. So she was merchandising with a couple of companies. And,
yes, that's right. Line Nathan, right? Yeah.
And they were really supportive once they found out what it could have been. But prior to that, there was a few meetings with them around her work, and just trying to suss out, see what was happening really. There was a lot of things that was out of character for her. So those were the early stages that I could tell. I'm not sure if you can remember any early ones before the diagnosis. What was happening?
When you were working on the truck, and she would show up at my house and say, I've got to pick up Dad, but I don't know where he is. And like she used to pick you up from work. I remember her coming around, or I wasn't even home, and Ray rang up and said, oh, Mars, do you know where your dad is? Because she's going to pick him up, but he won't tell her where she is, or where he is. Yeah. And then I rang you, and you're like, no, I'm just at work waiting.
Those small things, I guess, you know. Yeah. So then we had a big hui with her work, and then they set her back with full pay. They were amazing until she got the diagnosis. Until we could sit, which took months, probably 5-6 months. So I used to take on the truck with me. She'd come on the truck, we'd be up early in the morning and off, you know. That's kind of the first stages that I can remember of it. But looking back as well, like I remember writing something. I don't know what's happening. I read it in diary, you know. So I was aware that something was up, something wasn't right, but didn't know how to place it. But because it was probably far and few between, you know, you just didn't really take notice of it. But as it was coming more frequent, you know, you kind of in denial. You don't want that to be the diagnosis. You don't want that to be happening to her, really. Yeah.
She was in like you said. She worked for Lion, in quite a really cool role, right? In promotions.
Yeah. She got a few awards and stuff like that. She was.
That's right.
Really enjoyed her job.
Yeah. So she was really good at it.
Yes.
And to work at that kind of corporate level, right? You had to be pretty smart and be in being able to achieve, because there's a lot of pressure working across that corporate role, right? But she got really good at it. Obviously, you said she'd won awards, but also I think it showed in the way they treated her when she got sick, that they gave her an extended more than what you would expect from your boss, right?
Yeah.
So they understood that she was not well, but also they supported her and supported you.
Yeah. No, they were good. They were awesome during their time.
Yeah.
Those phases,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of, you know, you look through that map and you see the different phases of it, and you look back. When you're going through it, it's hard to kind of identify phases, you know, but later on you can, you know, in hindsight you can see the phases, and these phases where, you know, sometimes it's quite funny what she was doing, you know. other times it wasn't so funny, but, she went through a really paranoid phase and stuff like that, where she'll be hiding stuff, and she thinks someone's taken it, which is quite common, I understand. Yeah, so if 1 month was her hair straightener, so she wouldn't go anywhere without straightening her hair, eh?
Oh, without straightening.
Without straightening her hair. Someone's
right.
taken my
See
straightener.
it poking out of her pocket.
Yeah, right.
And she's like, someone's taken it. I think someone has. I think that was you.
Yeah, right. Because those hair straighteners, they're pretty personal pieces of of a woman's merchandise, right?
Yeah.
Camille, how was it for you seeing Mum, go through those changes, and not just the forgetting things, but she's your I would get second guess that she was kind of like your idol, because she's your mum, right? Yeah. And then what does she become when you see her moving through all of those funny stages?
It's really weird because she's always been, it's like we've always had like a lot of respect in our relationship, and you grow up and see, and she's always treated me with respect as well, and then just seeing her personality change just a little bit, and thinking and trying to alter how I am in response to it, and understanding sometimes what she was saying isn't understanding that she's saying everyone's telling her to get out of the house, but she's the only one hearing it, and like understanding that, and not instead of looking around and thinking, who's telling you to get out of the house, show me. And she's like, and then realizing, oh no, she's just hearing that, and then thinking, yep, and then having to treat her like more, a little bit more tenderly, instead of just being up front like, no one's here, saying, are they? Okay, let's go and tell them to distract her with any other kind of conversation. Come on then, let's go and make a cup of tea, and then we're going to go tell them they can't say that. And she's like, yep. By the time she's had a cup of tea, it's like she's like, changed text, just changing your interaction.
So you had to adjust your role as a daughter and become a carer, a carer, if that's even,
It is that thing. Like I remember thinking, it's like going from having a parent to having or even just a friend to having caring for like a child, because that's basically what it was like. Just gradually going down instead of watching someone grow up. Yeah, correct. Doing it in the reverse.
Yeah. And Mum was 50. When was it her first diagnosis? At that age?
No, I don't think so. No, she was a bit older.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably the signs. If we look back, it's probably about 50 you start thinking
started to.
It's noticeable signs. But the diagnosis, she was about 53. The official, 54. Like after all of this stuff happening at work and actually getting to the doctor and then getting the actual diagnosis. Yeah. It was a few years later.
Yeah.
53, 54.
Yeah. So she had travelled most of some of their first part on that map already, and the signs were there. And then, got the diagnosis 53, 54, I guess. And just watching those phases slowly, couldn't even see the changes really, but hard from once she got the diagnosis, she, kind of lost her job, lost her independence, lost her driver's license, couldn't drive. It was a huge change, and it affected her emotionally as well. Yeah, and just everyone watching that transition of her becoming, your mother, your friend, your partner, to becoming more of a dependent was really hard. Yeah, hard to watch, hard to experience, and very hard for her. Yeah. Yeah.
you were, you would have had to make a lot of changes as her husband, as her tāne, as her as her as her partner and man that stands strong in that space.
And we always tried to our key role was to keep her as independent as we could. So once we had that diagnosis, I guess we had the opportunity to access some of the services that were there, etc. And then it was a matter of just trying to lead as normal life as you could, I guess. So we looked at engaging her in different activities, and how do you do that? So negotiating, navigating that landscape was a kind of not a bit of a trial, I guess. Unfamiliar with it, and just which was when you jumped on board with the dementia nurses and that, and they were able to help navigate you, and then other services would help navigate you, and then I was looking for things that fitted Marcella, that she was interested in. We took her a couple of places, and I was like, I'm not staying here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She let us know without any kind of thing. I'm not staying here. Yeah. And so we did find some services, and they were really awesome with her,
Yeah.
And it kept her, because at the time I was still working, so we were on like a one wage, and she was during the day, had her day activity thing that she picked up in the morning and then away, and so
she'd get picked up by me.
Yeah.
So it was a big learning curve, huge learning curve, and then just kind of increased as she slowly become more sick. Learning more. You had to learn different skills and techniques and stuff like that.
And so when she, so we're just kind of looking at maybe she was 52 or 3 when you all absolutely knew that she had dementia. So from how quickly did that progress through her life from 53 to the time she passed? If I
can't compare it with anybody else really, but I think hers was quite quick. So as soon as we got a diagnosis, they were offered I think it was a hormonal medication. You could tablet, or you could have a patch on your outer skin, and we opted for the patch because there was less side effects. So straight away, the day of the diagnosis, we got medication, and we were starting to put this patch on her, and it was supposed to help with her brain.
Delay it wouldn't improve her brain function, but it could delay the deterioration. And they described it, they said it works differently, but some people have described it as they started using the patch and it was like turning the lights on in that person. And unfortunately we didn't see that, but we continued for as long as we could.
For years we had it. And you had to rotate it,
Rotate otherwise you get a rash.
And you still had her at home, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
She never went anywhere else. We had her the whole time.
But she was still mobile.
Yeah,
right. Oh, and I remember you saying you bought in apparatus and different kinds of gear to help her stay home, right? Stay home and
there was lots of, depending on what phase she was going through. When she started to wander, so we had to engage with
tracker,
search and rescue people. Get a tracker, register her, fill out all the forms. She'd think, she'd always try and make it back to her home, And a couple of times, quite a few times, it'd be, where is she? And we'll be off on the road to look for her, and she'd be down, in a couple of
so you could see
away.
her, you could see where she was on some kind of
No, that was it was the tracker. So if we couldn't find her, we ring the police, and they're like, okay, we're using the special thing. We'll find her and get her.
Right.
Yeah.
And you had to activate that?
Nah, thankfully
didn't
not.
Didn't get to that.
We found her every time we did. We never did.
And did she get far? Like she
never
across
got
town
on,
or up the road?
she never got far with me, but just habit, like every 30 seconds, where are you? Where are you? I think she got probably like maybe 100 meters from the house, but that's because I was always listening. But one time in town, we walked down the aisle, and then I turned around and she was gone, and she got across the mall parking lot.
Yeah, right.
And it was busy, and I was like, oh, that wasn't.
Yeah.
And I could see her, and I was trying to call her, and she was like, no, I'm going to somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a scary phase, because you got to make sure that the toilet that she goes, you can, okay, you need to go to the toilet. Here's the toilet going there. You got to make sure it hasn't got 2 exits, say, because you're sitting out there for ages. She's gone out the other exit.
Because that's what they would go out the other exit.
Yeah.
They just
or just turn around the corner and you turn first, and they're like, I'm going back to the car. Oh, I'm going back to the parking lot.
Yeah.
And that was. I remember one time coming down, and she'd made it to Vaughan's Road, I think. No, we were walking, and she just was like, okay, I'm crossing now. I was like, grabbed her and pulled her back because she didn't look. There was a car. I was like, no,
you're right.
Don't do that ever again.
Yeah.
So that self-preservation wasn't
awareness.
always aware. She was on the truck with me one day, and I stopped to Tito to let off at the toilets over here. But she was thinking over at the gas station. She ran across the road, and she ran in front of one of her cousins. I think she ran in front of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they stopped. Oh, what are you doing? Yeah.
You're right. I guess. Do you remember the day where someone said to you that she has got dementia, that it was 100%, this is where she is at?
Yeah.
Do you remember that moment, that time?
The diagnosis.
The diagnosis.
Yep, definitely.
Was there a relief in that, or were you angry, or were you just... You already knew it, right? But it's when you hear it coming from the...
When you don't have the diagnosis, you've got the hope, eh? There's like the ray of hope, like, oh no, it's something else.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brain tumour, they can cut that out and it'll go back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But and then what is it? Just the stomach sinks, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Because we've been through it already.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Knowing that it was,
I think was there a bit of relief for you too? Like, this explains so much. Like, just the small things that you think that's weird.
Really, I think. But just what's the next step? Really, for me was like, oh, you got it. Well, what's next? And that's when they suggested the medication, and I had a look at the options and which one we're gonna do.
And how was that medication journey for you guys? Was it?
I was like Carmel said, like the patch apparently was, for some people, was like, oh, the lights come on, they're all good, but we never experienced that with her on that medication. Yeah. But we stuck, they said it'll delay it, and we just used it all the time.
We were like, it's not hurting.
Yeah.
So
it must be okay.
Yeah, so just keep using it because it could be helping.
Yeah.
But other than she didn't like taking medication, so that was always fun. Any pills, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if she was in an irate mood, and you'll think, oh, you want to take this, love, you'll feel much better and calmer. It's like, oh no, how am I going to get this into your mouth?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, do you like these lollies?
Yeah. Oh, that one, you'd hide it in a lolly.
Yeah, pink smokers or something like that. Here you go, love. And she's like, yeah, I'm not taking...
No, yum. Hey.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah. Although the tricks that you played on Mum to get her to take a medication, right?
Yeah.
When she passed, and and I'm only guessing, so please, if I'm assuming this, just tell me that it wasn't like this at all, but was there any relief that she wasn't where she was at in her mama in her sickness?
Yeah, I think there was, because for the last year of her life, she was immobile. So she ended up she got COVID. She got COVID and ended up in hospital, and then got a bed sore, and then she was really hard for her to walk around. So for the last year she was just in bed.
Yeah.
She was still happy and smiling, but she had regressed a lot. Like wouldn't even talk, would just look and stuff.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, but at least she'd be still alive. But at the same time, it's like, but she's not, stuck.
Mm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? She's just like,
Yeah.
because if you think if her mind was still there, she wouldn't have liked it. How the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have liked that at all.
Yeah. Because you had her at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I came around your whare the other day in there to look at that space, and it was beautiful. It was just like, to walk into, your home and see, and just to know that she was in there in that space, and it was pretty sobering, if I could say. And it just meant so much to walk into that time, and to see how Mum functioned, how you guys lived. And just to have her at home all the way to her time of leaving us, it must have been pretty special. And I know there's a lot of tragedy in that, but there's something about having your loved ones next to you and with you at those times. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I like the memory of you go and visit, or you spending time with her, or just with anyone, and thinking, oh, you're just in a place that smells like home, surrounded by your stuff. And then I think the day before she passed, at the hospital, and being there and hearing all the machines and the beeping, hearing other people and the smell, and was just like when they said that there was nothing more. It's like, let's go home. Let's go home, because this isn't.
Yeah.
So that would have, even if she did go to a rest home for a few weeks, because Dad got appendicitis. He had to have his appendix out.
Oh, that's right. And
and so she did go into a rest home for a few weeks, and even being there, I was like, I don't like it. It just, it's like, oh no, I don't. It's too hot, and I don't know if I can open all the windows and doors, and it's like, and you don't have all the stuff that we had at home. Like, it's like, I'll just go get the hoist and get her up. It's like, oh no, I've got to go find someone, because I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
And
This is a big thing, like even with Auntie, the end of life wish, or forget what they call it, how you want to, non-resuscitation and all that kind of stuff. It's huge.
Oh, yep.
But early in the piece, you think, oh, I just don't even know what it's all about. But when we got COVID, they gave, was actually, I kind of knew what she was going to have to go through. And I reckon the last stages of dementia, you lose the function to swallow and stuff like that, So it was going to get really, really bad, I guess. But early in the piece, because I knew, I went to the doctor and said, I want to kill my wife, And he goes, oh, why's that? It's like, so that you didn't have to go through all that.
Yeah.
You don't want them to go through it.
Yeah.
But, and I remember hugging you one night and just thinking, how you could smother her, just give her a silent death kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he stuck me on medication anyway. And we carried on, and then I guess a year in, when she got the COVID, and she was mobile, travelling, you know, she was good. And we got COVID and got stuck on the ward. Then another doctor goes to me, when we're up on the ward, oh, this is a moment of, you know, do you want to, you know, basically, he goes, you're at a crossroads, what do you think? And I was going, and I knew what he meant, you know, I was going, oh, can you give me a couple hours, you know, think about, you know, do you want to let it go or you want to carry on? And 10 minutes, you know, she was young, she was too young, you know, she was mobile, and we still had another year and a half after that, you know. I just said, no, you know, can you start the treatment, you know, we want her well, you know. So those are real hard times to, you know, when you get those. And I just had a talk with one of my close friends about, you know, their quality of life and when's the right time to let them go and all that kind of stuff, you know. So through those periods, it was like really hard making those decisions. And then, you know, I was just betting for all the time. It didn't really matter what was going on. Just wanted her to survive. And then, yeah, got their call up the hospital. And it was going to be, they said, oh, we can do stuff, but it's going to be real invasive.
We can put her on life support here, but she still might pass. It's like,
yeah,
no thank you. And we took her home, and she was with us for another, day and a half? And it was like enough time, because we got back quite late the night from the hospital, but it was enough time to like let the whānau know. Yeah. And so everyone actually was able to come and see her. Yeah.
Let's call it, you know, her sickness was dementia. She passed because of dementia. She was, I guess if you look back on her life and you look back on those last couple of years that she lived with dementia and having gone through those last years and then inevitably had passed because of it, what could you take from that that we might be able to grow bigger and better because of your your mother's strength and journey in those last few years of her life? What could you tell us about her endurance? What could you tell us about the strength that she needed to be able to live those last few years so that we could be better because of it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm like, oh, my head's gone blank now.
I suppose there's like some options, like depending on what phase they are, to give them a better quality of life, like easier access to some of the services. So when I was saying the service that we got her in wasn't so, because of the medication, because of her hallucination and hearing voices and stuff, they engaged her with psychotic medication. Yeah. And they part of that was you had access to these other services, which was really not geared for her. So some of the people in NESC and some of the other services were really awesome, and then they kind of crossed over. I don't know if they were supposed to, but because of her diagnosis, she was eligible for these services, but there was these other services that were more suited her, so they crossed her over and put her in these services. But that was hard to get into. Yeah. And so you know, getting into those services earlier and quicker would be really, really great. So I don't know how they would do that. Like, yeah, it depends on your diagnosis, I guess. The medication too, like we took off that, you know, these are the alternative medications, and we opted for a different medication because we weren't happy with the side effects that the antipsychotic one gave you. So yeah, we looked at alternative ways, and we got good support around getting that too from GPs, which was really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
expensive, really expensive.
Yes.
I don't know if the government could fund that a little bit more, drop the price on some of those, but
so were they trial treatments or?
No, they were.
It was
prescribed. It was prescribed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was prescribed, but you had to jump a few hoops to get into that.
Yes.
And then the medication was really expensive, so expensive. But
and she was actually, you put her on that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
how'd that go?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, she was on there till the end really, and it was really good for her. Yeah.
It was like I said it earlier, it was the calming without the side effects.
Yeah.
So it was like ideal for that, because it made her dislike medication even more. The way it made her feel, she's like, no. And she was already like resistant to it, the medication in the first place.
Okay. Kapai. We're going to take a break here. Sorry, I forgot to tell you guys we actually do break in our podcast just to have a stretch and a blah blah blah. Yes. But I think it's a real crucial moment, and it can, let me run this past you as well, yeah? So yeah, just relax. Because you know where I'm going to go with this, right? Yeah, so if we talk about alternative treatments, and we talk about THC, and we talk about cannabinoids, and we talk about that, and I'm picking that's the route you took, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was like, you were being you were being super diplomatic. I was like, should I just say it?
Wasn't he right? Hey, Dad, I'm like.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know if we're allowed to. So
you're
doing well. You're doing well.
And that's why I timed out. Yeah. Because it's an interesting take, and you know what? And this is your story, right? Yeah. Hey, right? Not mine, not Annette's, not Alex's. You know, we could easily ask the question to this room: shall we move it down there? And it's easy to answer because it's your story. You know, I know, like you know, and I'm sure Annette knows, a lot of people who have taken alternative treatments to various, I'll speak of myself, my son-in-law died of cancer. We paid through the eye for Keytruda, which at that time was unfunded, but on the way to that journey we discovered cannabinoids, and we discovered THC, I guess ailments. And we also discovered that in the treatment of that particular type of rungo or healing, that it actually worked for our boy. It took away all of the other things that were synonymous with pain. You know, it just gave him relief. Just for a moment while he was still alive, it just let him calm. It just calmed everything about, you know, and it let him breathe out in cancer, even though he died, inevitably he died. But at least for that time, we were able to offer him a relief, a respite of the pain that he was going through, you know. And so I get it when you might have put mum into the same space of giving her some respite, some ease from her pain. And my question to you both is, would you like to talk about that? Shall we push down that for the next 10 minutes on our way out, or would you rather steer clear of?
I don't mind talking about it. That was our experience.
It is your
it's what we
experience.
did, and we got a good result from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind. And like even some of the services like that didn't come through, you know, like, wouldn't mind talking about how do, you know, how do they improve them, you know. Yeah, I know, like specifically, they were supposed to redo the bathroom, you know, and it was at least over a year, maybe a year and a half, the application went in, and they'd come in and measure up, then they'd go away and come back and have a look at her and say they're doing something else, but, you know, her quality of life would have been way better if we had access to the bathroom. So soon, when we got out of hospital for a year and a half, she was just bed bath basically, unless we got the taxi, wheelchair taxi to take her to Queen Elizabeth and book all that up. So those are all different things you had to kind of figure out, and you had to get a taxi van and the card and get because we were just on the benefits, you know, you had to look for funding and stuff like that.
And she was freaked out in the vans. And towards the end, car ride, she was like looking around like, oh, no. In her wheelchair, she's like, no, out.
Okay. Okay. So
can I go to the toilet?
Yeah, go, yep. Wharepaku,
Don't forget
take a
that
stretch.
thing's on your
Take a stretch.
on your
And then we'll
waistband.
go, and then after this we'll be 10, 12, 15 minutes and we're out.
You're doing well, Carmel.
Say?
So good.
Afterwards, I'll get you to, we've got to do again.
Yeah, kapai. And there's some other.
Fabulous, thank you. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy. Yeah. How do you feel about us taking that pathway? Yeah.
It's not something we actually
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. I'm just going to be very mindful of, you know, some of the legal kind of like things around it, but I just think again it's their story. We'll just couple. Yeah. Yeah, Carmel, I was looking at you when I said, and I know exactly what you're looking at your dad going.
Yeah, I was like, are you allowed to talk about that?
Right. Yeah, right. Just don't tell us you're growing it.
Yeah, that cracked me up, and then I was like, oh, he's not even saying what it is. Okay, okay, I get you.
Yeah. So we know now, and just off camera, so we know now that there's a legal, you can apply legally for medicinal cannabis, right? So is that where you were at?
That's part of what he was talking about, like, the jumping through the hoops because there was only certain GPs. He got a referral from her GP to the ones who could approve a subscription.
Right.
But there was like one that did the whole day, so it was a wait time. And then they video called, and that was during COVID.
To be able to be
to say,
to have the right.
tell me why you need this, and he explained, and
so you were screened. You were screened for
it wasn't
approval.
Just
for approval.
Yeah, and it wasn't even her GP, even though, but she set it up because she was really amazing too, and had been her GP for like a decade.
Right.
So, but so it was legally prescribed and stuff. Dad
And so
went through all the
that's
stuff.
the pathway you stayed on, was the legal prescription.
For the purposes of this podcast, yes, of course. Of course.
Called him his son.
But
And it's funny that, and I say off camera, I say this because we when you start that journey, as I'm sure you know, you start to access that community, right? And so we started to engage with Green Fairies.
Well,
that's what they were calling them. Hell, I'm like, what the hell's a Green Fairy, right?
Oh shit! Earlier. He was like, oh, you know the Green Fairies.
Oh, is that what that is? Oh,
the Green Fairies just come out of the woodwork, but
sorry.
he knows a lot of people, so they were just people who this might help. this might help with the cost of, and Dad was like, thank you.
And here's the thing, and again, off camera, I know of people right now who do and are able to, I guess, set different kinds of ointments, medications at THC levels that remove the psychosis or the psychotic element of
Working day off.
cannabis
Yeah.
to the point where all it is and what it is totally healing
Yeah.
without sending you into, typical
Yeah.
marijuana land. And when you, it's an interesting space to be in and around,
Yeah.
because it's a whole other lens, looking down a lens.
Yeah.
These people aren't taking this to get off their faces.
Yeah. They're taking it to
But
feel.
you have the ability to remove that psychotic element in that thing. In levels of THC? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? So
Yeah.
I can now cook to include this or mild.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy
We're going to have a salad.
yucks.
And we're going to have a salad, and
We're
just
gonna
the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to really enjoy the salad.
We're going to have
Okay,
a
you're
biscuit.
Yeah. 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 Here's your coffee. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's a whole interesting talk on. But
And I was thinking, and it wasn't even something, you think, like, obviously it was like, just try some biscuits. Try some biscuits. It wasn't either the first thing we thought of. The doctors, and they're like, well, these things are happening, so we're going to give you this medication. It's like that's always the first thing we tried, because that's what the doctors were thinking.
Yeah.
It's just alternatives.
That's their
Yeah.
pathway. That's their pathway.
And the more people you talk to, the more alternatives people suggest about this or that, or how you could
Yeah,
get around
correct.
this. And it's like
yeah. No, awesome. All right, so we'll push, and I say we'll push lightly down the use of alternative medicines, or alternative
less mainstream
methods.
options.
Right, and I will try to keep it at a point where we don't deep dive or dig too deep into
Where the plots are you grow.
use of, right? Hey, and talk about green fairies and all the like.
Yeah.
But what I would like you to tell us is about that route that you took, that gave Ma some respite, some relief.
Yeah.
And we might touch on a few sensitive things, and we might get kickback from people, but I think for the most of it, there'll be a huge community of understanding that we live with this now. We live with this alternative look at.
Well, they're
looking
checking out
after.
mushrooms and all that now, like in the States. That'll be astronomical prices, but,
Oh, not if you know where.
psilocybins, is
Yeah.
it's the next best thing since sliced bread.
But that's probably a whole other podcast. But yeah, and also what I forgot to do, and please aroha mai for that, is to be able to extend the opportunity for you when we started to mihi. If you would like to, we could go back and extend that back to you, Mike.
Nā kapai.
Kapai, were you happy
Yeah.
with that opening?
Yeah.
I just didn't want to not give you that a chance to whakapapa back to your hapu iwi timi kapai.
Kapai.
Kapai?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, kapai. All right.
You asked me.
All right.
Sorry, you asked me a question before, and I said, "Oh, my mind's blank," and I was like, "I didn't understand what you said." I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I
Is that
just
'cause you
remembered
understand
that.
now?
I was like, "Nah, I still
I
don't."
probably didn't even
I've
understand
forgotten.
myself.
I've forgotten the question, but I just remember thinking, "Oh, bro, you're so embarrassing."
Kapai, it's not embarrassing. It's awesome. It's awesome. All right. So let's kick off again. You're right, Alex? Yeah, kapai. So again, we're just going to touch slightly on the alternative method you guys took for Marcella, and then we'll just round off on some thoughts on, on dementia te mea. So, ka pai. And also we'll talk about those services that could have been better or could have been done better.
Are you going to name them
No,
specifically?
let's.
I tried to look for the name, I couldn't find it.
Because it does help if we can bring a story or situational evidence of things that need to become better, and it's your story. That's what these podcast sessions are for. So, all right, kapai, here we go. In 3, 2, cool. So let's talk about those times where you brought mum home, and someone may have said to you that there is some other alternative methods of giving her some pain relief or respite, or just the chance to rid herself of the pain that she was in. And so that was an option given to you guys, and you did say before, Mike, that it was costly.
Yeah, it was early in the piece too, because understanding that side effects of risperidone was quite hard on you. So we made that choice quite quickly to go alternative, and there were specific GPs that we had to see to be able to access it. So, and at that time, I think it was COVID time. So,
so this was
2020 maybe.
Yeah.
Rolling into 2020, and it was, I think, because there were alternative kind of medications, I think the GPs that we had to access, they were the only ones that would be able to give us the medication in the bay, working a bit of flack from the government at the time.
Correct.
So
because it was still relatively new, right?
Yeah.
Was it still in trial, or was it?
No, it wasn't in trial. It was just other things going on around COVID and stuff that these particular GPs didn't agree on. Was causing a bit of friction with the government. So they were, I think they were at risk of getting struck off the thing. So our goal was to access the alternative medication as quickly as we could, which happened through a video session or video consultation, which was quite expensive as well. But through their consultation, we were able to get the prescribed medication that we needed, and that was forwarded on to our own local GP, which was able to carry on their prescription for us throughout the period that Marcella had kind of dementia and stuff. Yeah.
And so sorry, Mike, so that prescription, or that what they had recommended for you, was a cannabis-based treatment?
Yes, that's right, yeah. They called it, there was different companies and different varieties.
Yeah, probably different brands, but basically it was oil, cannabis oil, just in a small container with an eyedropper. You could just add it to food or into a hot drink. Didn't have any smell, she wasn't in a daze or anything, she was just settled. Instead of being panicked or nervous or anxious, she was just settled and comfortable.
So those were the signs that if she was anxious or there was anxiety, then we would give her a dose.
And what was your understanding of the use of that particular type of treatment? That was had a cannabis base about it, or that kind of drug.
It's not for everybody, and if it didn't work, we wouldn't have used it. We understood that, but we had to give it a try. We had to give it a blast, and it was awesome, and it was awesome to be able to take her off the risperidone and
you
keep
didn't
her
take
on
much
that.
convincing.
No.
Well, she didn't, because you ask her, she would actively say, "I feel bad." Oh, not bad, but I feel funny after she would take the risperidone if she was really, really animated or escalated. But after just having a coffee, she would just calm down and be like, "How are you feeling? You all right?" Especially when she first tried it, and she's like, "No, I'm good. No, I feel good."
Settling, no?
Yeah.
It was really good.
It
It was
might
expensive
not.
though.
It was really expensive. It was like what,
there
it
was
started out expensive and then it just got more expensive.
Yeah.
as
So there was
time
different
went on.
grades too. So we're on the lowest one, which they call a 10-10. So it was 10 CBD, 10 THC.
Yep.
And that will suffice. Yeah, and I think that was $200, and it was 40 mil. So that would give you just over a couple of weeks, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Depending on how she was feeling. Yeah. So it was really expensive.
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
And that was at the, for want of a word, that was at the low end or the diluted end of the scale, right?
Yeah.
That was a low dose.
Yes.
So say those numbers again. It was 110.
10-10.
A 10-10.
10-10.
Yeah, right. So there was 10 of the amount of
CBD and 10
and
THC.
THC, right?
Yeah. And then I think the next level goes up to 50-50. I think there was about $400 maybe.
So really that was giving you full doses of both, right? THC and CBD.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were combining that one, but how they measured it, yeah.
Yeah. So the change in her, did you see? I mean, I'm hearing from you, Carmela, was pretty instant.
Yeah, probably like a few minutes. If somebody, not if somebody, but if she was escalated, she would be like quite agitated, and you could see her, and she'd be moving, frowning a lot, and looking around, and then it would just be as simple as just a couple of drops in her coffee, and as she thing, you would see her just visibly settle, calm, and stop frowning, and just
be relaxed.
she relaxed, comfortable, not looking around like somebody's talking, and not instant but very, very quick. Better than risperidone too. Because she would get quite sleepy and sluggish, and she wouldn't want to get up, or
And did you have to report those moments back to your GP or back to your specialists or back to those people that you bought
initially
those
initially they gave us a guideline on the amount of doses, etc. And if there was any kind of side effects, or if it didn't work or anything, then you were supposed to get back to them. But the guideline they gave us was great, and it was suffice, so we just carried on.
And so you sat in those guidelines, you didn't move any of the doses, sat right there, and it worked for her.
Because it was her GP after the initial talk to the other doctors. It was
then the GP prescribed it after that.
Yeah.
But it was really expensive, so there's
it wouldn't be something just anyone, because it's not funded at all. It's not something that anyone could get.
Yeah, but there's there are green fairies out there that offered us stuff as well, and that we did use, and we found just as good. Just and it was great.
And Carmela and I did speak about that off camera.
Yeah.
Your community comes out to your help, right? Right. If they know that you need help, it's funny where they come from.
There's a need, and they help you fill it.
Yeah. Yes. And talking about that kind of help, I know that you struggled somewhat, Mike, in trying to get the right services to look after Marcella in those times where she needed apparatus and different things done around the home. So while she might have been, in a place of receiving alternative treatment and blah, there was another fight going on for you and trying to get those things done across your whare. Just a few thoughts on that. Yeah.
Gosh, you're so busy, really, just with day-to-day care for her. It's kind of hard to carry and follow up a lot of the other things, things like that, that need to be done. But your feeding and your personal cares and stuff like that. I don't know how you kind of can improve that system. Like, I've seen stuff come through, like so for example, one was the rehabilitation, I guess, through the hospital. When we come out, we couldn't access the bathroom, so we applied to get the bathroom renovated, got a small bathroom, small ensuite. Look, I was told, oh, you know, it's just pretty straightforward. They come in after a while and did the measurements. Everything seemed coming really pretty late, you know. Filled out the form, they sent it away, but never really heard back from them, you know. And the rehab lady, I was physio. She came once, and then we never seen her again, you know. So we paid for osteopath to come as osteopath. She'd come in once a week. We paid for
Dad sourced all these people himself.
Massage once a week, you know, just to keep her when she was in the bed bound when we come out of hospital after the bed wound. There's lots of even the girls, my girls, that helped most of the time, and then they got tied up, and then we brought in services, and the services, and we had one service starting up, and that was from Papamoa, I think, or the Mount, because you know our ones never had very good reputation, so they come over twice and talk to me about it. Yeah, we're going to start, and then never turned up at all, and then got our local one, and then they never turned up on the first day, you know. And then I was going to change again because, you know, I don't know why it's broken. I have my theories around why that system is broken, but everyone's experiencing it, I think, as well. So it just makes your job harder, you know. Like she was at hospital care level one time, and the help was supposed to come in the morning. I was ringing them, and you know, they, yeah, we're going to get there. I'd ring them again at 6 in the afternoon. Oh, and then they rang back about 7, and oh, do you mind if we don't come today? You know, it's like
yeah. Well, you know, a tradesman.
yeah.
It must have been frustrating, Mike, to try to source all that help, and people not turning up to do things and stuff at your house.
But in saying that, there's a lot of great services too. You know, like the women's Lakes Dementia was awesome. Yeah. The district nurses, hospice. They were awesome. Hospice centre, and ladies volunteered to come and help. You know. Yes. They were great. They were amazing.
Yeah. And I know Dementia New Zealand here in Rotorua does just such a great job over the care and support of our people. So, just in closing off this particular podcast session, and to ask you both, you know, if you could take something out of your learnings and Mum passing, that we might be able to be better because of it, with the understanding of dementia, what could you leave with us to be able to become more educated or more better learned around this thing called dementia? Kamel?
I think, well, don't forget that your person they're still a person. They might be completely different, but they're still a person. And take it easy on yourself as well, for the people, if you're looking after someone, because you can't do everything. And it takes lots of energy to keep somebody who doesn't have much energy, keep their spirits up. So don't be hard on yourself.
And there's wonderful wisdom in that, you know. Don't be hard on yourself, because you know, as care workers, sometimes they put, you know, their own health on the line to care for our sick ones, and I'm sure you've been right there, Kamel. And
because I'm like, if you give 100%, then you've got 0% for yourself. But then that makes me sound like I don't give a 70, 50% maybe. No, but because it was lots of you feel a lot of guilt when she passed away, for lots of guilt, and even though I'm saying this now, I'm like, you gotta, you know, take it easy on yourself. be forgiving because you did as well as you could at the time. And I say that to everyone else, and I believe it. But I don't believe it for me. But I'm like, no, I should listen to my own words.
Yeah.
Such a huge job, eh?
Yeah. Thanks. Mike, any last thoughts from you?
It's I suppose it's still part of their journey. Once they've gone, you know, they're still in your heart, and you just got to carry on, carry forward, carry them with you, and you just love your family, I guess. Never know when it's your day, really. Yeah. And speak about it, I guess. Like this has been probably one of the best opportunities we've had to talk about it and you know, unpack a few things that we went through here. And if someone else can learn from that, or we can give someone else a bit of advice around that, you know, it's so awesome. You know, like, and there's lots of things, like through all those stages I learned so many different things that people should write a handbook.
Well,
I also had a handbook before. No.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. Whānau, thank you for being here today. Come on, Mike. And thank you for bringing our wonderful Wayne and Marcella with you to share this time. Been very special. Yeah, and just taking the time to thank you. Thanks, Annette, for sitting on the session.
Thank you, guys.
Toika, Alex, thank you, boys, for being a part of this session as well. So, ka pai, that's us. Komotu ahau, finished our mahi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Great.
Awesome. What? Thank you, mate. Ka pai. Yeah.